Hello everyone and welcome back to the Little Quilter. Today we are going to be working on month 2 of the produce section, and it's going to be the strawberry. So let's crack into this and see what we've got going on. All right everybody, so we've got our typical bag here. We're going to open it up and see what we have. I like looking at the instructions here. So we're going to be doing month 2. There'll be 4 strawberry blocks, and our fabrics are the background fabric, Kona lingerie, Kona flame, cayenne geo, Essex yardage orangeade, and Kona pea pod. So let's go ahead and start cutting. Okay, so I've made a little bit of progress here. I'm going to show you I've got it laid out to do the top of the strawberry. And just something that I wanted to point out was that the top of this is coming together a lot faster than I expected, and that's primarily because these 2 blocks, that even though they're directional, you can sew them in the same way, and then you adjust just how because you are ironing these seams open, they end up looking exactly the same. So you can actually flip these whichever direction you need to, which was really nice. Now, it works for that part, but it does not work for this bottom part here. So this part here, you do need to pay attention and make sure that you cut those in the direction that they're supposed to. Otherwise, this whole strip is not going to be right if they're going in the same direction, okay? So I'm going to work on putting this together, and then we're going to be able to get to the actual body of the quilt. I've got all of the little pieces sewn together, and again, those came together really smoothly because it really didn't matter what direction I sewed them in, as long as I have them flipped in the right direction. So that part's going to be really nice, and it's just going to be laying it out and then sewing all of those together. Now, I'm not quite sure that I could do webbing technique on this because each of the rows, albeit they are the same size, I guess, around, but it is not like an even square to square to square. So won't be able to do that. It'll be a little bit more finicky sewing. But let's go ahead and get this top part done of the strawberry. Okay, so I have the body of the strawberry finished, and I consistently was short on this one right here. So I do have all of the pieces correct. I went back over to make sure that each of these was the right size and the right piece, and it was. So I was consistently short. So I think my recommendation, just so that you end up with it exact, would be to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room on this last piece right here. So hold on, let me turn the camera around so you can see. Okay, so if you see here, I am consistently short on it. This one is not as bad. This one is a little short, not as bad, and that one is probably the best right there. Although it almost looks like I'm consistently a little short, which would be the best way to go. So it's a little bit sad there. I think what I would recommend, because these are the correct pieces, and I believe they're in the correct orientation, would be to give yourself a little wiggle room and cut one of these last pieces just a smidge, maybe even 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch bigger, so that when you cut this down, you give yourself some wiggle room so that you don't end up with this problem right here, because it was consistently a problem. So I don't know why that is, and I mean, I definitely checked, but maybe, maybe one of these was a little bit short, but I don't think so, because a lot of these same sizes were used over here, and this one was an appropriate size. So I'm not sure, but we're going to go ahead and continue with this. I'm not redoing this. That would be just way too much work. So I'm going to keep going, and we'll see how this turns out. Okay, everybody, so I finally got the block completely finished. This is my strawberry block. This is probably the best one that doesn't have as much of the little lip that's missing there. I'll show you the worst one. I believe it's this one is the worst one. So put my thumb behind it. You can see there's a bit of a gap there. I'm not going to do anything about it just yet. I want to see what the rest of the pattern looks like and how this is outlined, and I may be able to adjust it so that if these blocks are all bordered by something, then maybe that will fix it without cutting into the block and changing the size of it right away. So my recommendation would be to cut these bottom blocks a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch bigger whenever you're sewing this, so that you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, because there are a lot of seams here, and that's probably where that take-up went. I believe that the pieces were cut accurately, so I don't think it was that part, because I did go through, but to be fair, there are a lot of pieces in this. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will link down below the Elizabeth Hartman Produce Section quilt. That's what we're doing. It's a block of the month that I'm getting, and I'll link down below where I purchased my block of the month from. This was the strawberry one, and if you look at my quilt videos, you can find the other blocks of the month that we have already done. As always, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe, and a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.